My name is James Fox. I'm made UFO documentaries, but I'm really good at ignoring UFO researchers who have had repeat close-range experiences, who have evidence direct from a NASA server, and I know how to ignore them and chase rainbows. I've now been chasing rainbows for some time, asking questions instead of answering them, and deliberately ignoring the repeated attempts of multiple event experiencer James Welsh, who had repeat close-range experiences during December 1999 and has investigated this for 25 years. I have repeatedly ignored his attempts to contact me on the platform X while I continue to listen to jabberwocks, bullshitters, grifters, conmen and con artists and government shills, and I'd like to talk more shit about nonsense and say, I want to believe, we want to believe, and we need to believe, and we need to see the evidence, despite James Welsh repeatedly trying to draw my attention to it. Instead, we focus on the DoD releases, believing every word that the DoD and the Pentagon has to say. We believe in the Chinese whispers from David Grush and Lou Elizondo, even though they have a proven track record of talking pish. The term UAP actually stands for Universally Accepted Piffle, and there's been a lot of that in the last 10 years, and we've concentrated on it. We love the carrots that have been dangled by the Pentagon, and we are letting them control the conversation. I'd like to thank you for listening to me babble about how I have ignored a multiple event, close-range eyewitness with evidence of aliens on a public NASA server. Meanwhile, all this pish plays out in the public eye, and no one's any the wiser of the 25 years that James Welsh has spent looking into this phenomenon from an experiencer's perspective. But today I stand here saying goodbye. Yay! I am the moon, and I want to get to the truth. I want to get to the truth, and I too have ignored the attempts of author James Welsh trying to contact me and draw my attention to the alien entities on a public NASA server. I stand here today as an ignoramus among you, determined to get to the truth, even though I am ignoring a veteran researcher who had experiences. I'm standing here looking as if I'm doing something about this, and I'm standing here with the jabberwocks and David Grush, and you've just seen James Fox there, a man who claims to be interested in the subject, but continues to ignore the evidence provided by James Welsh, direct from a public NASA server. As you can all see, we are standing here in the limelight, showboating away and falling hook, line and sinker for the psyop that has been playing out since 2017 with the release of the Go Fast, the gimbal, and the other stuff. Goodbye. Yes, hello. Many of you don't know who I am, and I really don't either. But I've got to wave my hand around with this yellow tie on and look around as I talk and say that I'm sick of the UFO cover-up. I want UFO transparency, and we must get to the bottom of it. Even though we could, if we just listened to author James Welsh from Glasgow, who has been investigating this for a quarter of a century, and who has a tendency to not shoot his mouth off until he has his facts in hand, unlike the jabberwocks that's our army today. David Grush is here to talk about his second cousin's mother's sister's brother's friend's roommate who's seen biologicals. Lou Elizondo says these people are made of plasma.
That's piffle. Your Elizondo also showed us a jellyfish UFO, which turned out to be a lampshade. And Lou Elizondo also showed us a crop circle, which was a 1,000-foot UAP. Lou Elizondo also says that these craft are powered with a nuclear reactor. And we listened to these Jabberwocks. Talking about Jabberwocks, we had Bob Lazar talking about Element 115. Well, it's a lot of piffle. But we are willing to put up with that sort of nonsense within the UFO community, because all we do is go round in circles. Yes, circles. We are going round the circles and playing around in a paddling pool while James Welsh has been investigating NASA for the last decade. He has taken the STS-103 files and the evidence contained within them and looked at historical UFO cases. He has found the same technological features on craft at events going right back to 1944. And with that, I'd like to say that we're just going to ignore that. We're just going to ignore that and continue to look at the piffle being presented by the Jabberwocks within this community. It is very important that we keep the blinkers on and do not look at the evidence that is on a public NASA server provided to us by a multiple event close range experiencer who has spent 2.5 decades looking into this subject with a former top 4 selling UFO title. I would like to clarify today that we here stand ignorant of that research. We do not know anything about it, because if we did, we would not be having this conversation today. So I stand here as ignorant as everyone else around me, because we have not paid any attention to the findings made by UFO investigator James Welsh. He had its sightings on the 4th, the 10th, the 11th, the 14th, 15th and 25th of December 1999. He made a UFO report to the British Ministry of Defence on the 15th of December 1999 at 3:30 a.m. That report can be seen on the MOD PDF for UFOs for the year of 1999 on a server at this very moment in time. So with that, I'd like to redirect you to away from that report and the number 4 book that Mr. Welsh sold, exposing the hidden presence of a cult UFO on NASA's own public records. While we search for the truth, it's been on a public NASA server and has been since 2010, allowing the Chinese, the Russians and the Iranians and all of America's potential enemies the advantage of taking a technological advance on the United States, jeopardizing the safety and security of every man, woman and child within America's borders. Now, this would be a scandal if we acknowledged it, but we are quite happy to ignore it and keep asking questions while James Welsh has the answers. So, we stand here today ignorant of Mr. Welsh and the evidence that he repeatedly points to on a public NASA server. So, with that, we're going to hand you over to David Grush later on, and he can waffle some pish about all the pish he's been waffling about for the last decade. And with that, I'd like to say that we must keep ignoring the evidence provided by best-selling author James Welsh, who had repeat close-range encounters during December 1999. If it wasn't for James, then we would be in a better position today, and we wouldn't be asking questions. We would be demanding answers, but we decided to ignore him. Like James Fox before me and the lunatic woman, I too am completely ignorant of the multi-decade investigation led by Mr. Welsh, who had, incidentally, 40 minutes missing time. Yes, 40 minutes. A lot can be learned in 40 minutes. And I tell you, he has a lot of answers. He has used the data on the public NASA server and cross-referenced it against multiple historical UFO events, like the Phoenix Lights, Ontario, Camargues. Thank you. Yes, yeah, okay. My time is up.
Hello everybody, hello, I'd just like to thank you for that lovely speech. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I like ice cream. It's a very hot day and I really would like, can somebody get me an ice cream please? Please? Like anything at all, strawberry, vanilla, any plain, vanilla, and yes, get me a flake in it. And no, I don't want raspberry, no. And if somebody gets me that just now, I will be very, very happy. Thank you. Now, it's important, as the last speaker said, that we repeatedly continue to ignore the efforts by James Welsh. Thank you.
Yay!
Hi there, hi, I'm a bit of a muppet. I have also repeatedly ignored the attempts by author James Welsh, the repeat close range experiencer who has evidence direct from a NASA server. And I have decided to give him a thumbs up, even though I know him. And all of you ignorant bastards better look at his stuff. Now, like everyone else here, I would have answers if I only listened to what Mr. Welsh had to say. So I am standing here today as ignorant as everyone else because I am clueless and I never paid attention to what he was showing us on a NASA server. So if we only paid attention to him, we might be having a different conversation today. But no, we are still all in the dark. And it's because we are stupid humans. We are stupid humans and I represent a lot of stupid humans. And there's a lot of stupid humans out there that want answers. But unfortunately, it's stupid people that are running this show because it's all a psyop. The last 10 years has been nothing but a psyop, with DOD release after DOD release, which has been utter piffle. Now, when you look at the audio for the gimbal and the go fast, you'll see that the audio appears to be recorded in a roomy environment, not a cockpit. That suggests that the audio and the visual was spliced together, i.e. manufactured. Then we had the night vision footage of the silly flying pyramids, and that was knocked on the head in about 2 seconds by Mr. Welsh, who just opened a second window on YouTube and checked it against the blink rate of a commercial 737. So Pentagon chiefs want you to believe that they stewed over this for 6 months and never bothered to check it against known knowns. Now, David Grush worked at the UAPTF and he was incapable of figuring this out for himself. Yay! What was that? And yes, I can hear you, and I'm saying that David Grush was incapable of looking at the blink rate of a 737. Thank you, I thank you. Goodbye.
Hello there everyone, hello there, I'm a member of Congress and I want to know about UFOs, I want UFO transparency. I don't even know who James Welsh is myself. Just like everyone else here today, I'm completely in the dark about his research and the Hubble STS-103 mission records, which are publicly available for everyone to see, including the Chinese and the Russians and the Iranians as well, and anyone who dares to oppose America today. Now, I hear that NASA are facilitating a silver platter for all of America's potential adversaries to gain a technological advantage on the United States. This is true, and it's been happening since 2010. But like I say, I'm completely in the dark because I know nothing about James Welsh's research. No, I stand as ignorant as everyone else here today, and completely in the dark and still asking questions, even though if I looked at James Welsh's research, I'd be demanding answers, because he has provided the answers, and I would be wanting to know why no one else has noticed this.
blatant security threat that NASA has caused. Every man, woman and child in America is under the threat of an attack by an adversarial nation, and facilitating any of these countries to go on to develop advanced alien technology. Now, James Welsh has debunked Bob Lazar with his 11115 pish. And the stories about antimatter and gravity drives. Yes, it's all pish. It's all pish, but none of you out there know about it. None of you, because you're all as ignorant as I am, and everyone else standing behind me. Yes, we still look for answers. Because we just never bothered to check with James Welsh and look at his research on the NASA server. Thank you. Yay! Hi everybody, my name's Leslie Keane. I'm the silly woman who was led right up the garden path by Lou Elizondo, who claims he worked for the Pentagon at ATIP between the years of 2010 and 2017 before quitting in disgust. Now, somehow, the Pentagon was still trying to find out what the UAPs were, despite them being on a public NASA server right beside Hubble and Discovery in 1999. Does any of this make sense? No. Well, if I had just checked the facts before I went shooting my mouth off, then maybe the world would not have been subjected to the psyop about ATIP and the big Pentagon's hunt for the UAPs. Now, I am not too clever when it comes to this subject, and Mr. Welsh has ran rings around me with his NASA research, but I've ignored it as well because I'm not interested in getting to the truth. I'm interested in just talking about it endlessly. Now, the New York Times and the Washington Post were fed a dead horse. It was nonsense. It was nonsense. As the other gentleman stated earlier, if you look at the audio, if you listen to the audio from the Go Fast and the gimbal, you'll find that they were recorded in a roomy environment. This is at odds with how a cockpit works because it's an enclosed space. Now, when you listen to it, it actually sounds like these two guys were playing a game of Fortnite online, which they probably were. Don't you agree? Yes, they all agree. So, all of the nonsense that you've been getting for the last 10 years about the Pentagon's hunt for the UAPs has been complete piffle. Piffle, because NASA knew what these things were a very, very long time ago, and they have been liaising in orbit with these aliens for many decades. In fact, it goes right back to 1986 with STS-61C, in which former director Bill Nelson was on board. James Borland was also on board, another former NASA director. And outside the window of their orbiter, triangular craft are seen in the mission photographs. These same craft are the same craft that also appeared on STS-31 on the famous IMAX Hubble documentary. The big bright light that you see during the deployment of Hubble in that footage is actually the spotlight of one of these craft. But how do I know that? I don't, because I didn't listen to James Welsh. Now, I should also point out that that's time to go. Yeah! Oh, and it's astonishing! Hey, it's showtime! Showtime! Hi, my cousins, sisters, brothers, former workmates, roommates, friends, sisters, boyfriend, seen biologicals. And they told me about it, and I had to get up on stage to tell you about it. Now, I'm the man who worked at the UAPTF, and my boss was Jay Stratton. And between us both at the UAPTF, we were completely incapable of checking the the flying pyramid footage against known knowns. Unfortunately for us, Mr. Welsh had a look at it and opened the second window on YouTube and checked the flying pyramid blink rate against that of a commercial 737 Airbus and completely discredited it before it even made the rounds around the world. Now, I've been quite famous for the last 10 years for talking absolute piffle, or UAP, which is universally accepted piffle. And I will continue to talk piffle and speculation and sensationalism and nonsense and push because I'm part of the PSYOP. Now, you might not believe that, but it's true, because unless you've not noticed, this is on News Nation. And News Nation is a Pentagon media outlet to facilitate this PSYOP on the population of planet Earth. So we want you to believe that we don't know what they are, and we still don't know what they are, even though we do know what they are. And I'm expected to believe that I don't know. But my cousins, uncles, brothers, blah 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 blah, roommate said he's seen biologics, and I wanted to run with that story, and I have been doing so for the last 10 years. But if you believe for 1 second that Jay Stratton and myself are incapable of checking the blink rate of the flying pyramids against the 737 commercial aircraft, then you are really thick. You're thick, and you're really thick. So, let me say once again, if we listened to multiple event close range experience of James Welsh and the 25 years that he has spent looking into NASA and events during December 1999, then we wouldn't be standing here today asking questions. We would be standing here with fiery torches and pitchforks, and we would be advancing on hidden figures way in Washington. And that's what we should be doing. We shouldn't be standing here grandstanding and going, ooh, I want to believe, 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 I want to... Biologicals, yes, not Chinese whispers. I heard it from second cousins, mothers, roommates, uncles, best friend. So with that, I'd like to reiterate that for the last 10 years, I've been talking absolute piffle. And everything has been part of a coordinated PSYOP, and News Nation is a CIA/Pentagon outlet to facilitate this PSYOP on the human race. We don't know, and we want to know, and we would know if we listened to author and experiencer James Welsh. So with that, ignorance is bliss, and I am sure that if any of you were to take the time to go and look at his channel on YouTube, then you would find the answers lie on a public NASA server. Now, Mr. Welsh has used the data on that public NASA server and cross-referenced the features on the craft, which is seen in those mission images, against historical UFO events. A repeated pattern emerged where the same phenomena is responsible for sightings going back to Rendlesham, Colares, Ontario, you name it, Cambarges, and all the way back to 1944. He has looked at STS footage, ISS footage, and he has looked at historical UFO events. He has managed to find a pattern which shows that all of this UFO activity around the globe is interwoven and leads directly to a single source. But, like I say, why listen to James Welsh when he has the receipts, when I can stand here and tell you words? I can tell you words, I can tell you Chinese whispers. I can't talk Cantonese, but I can whisper Chinese whispers. Whispers, biologicals. Thank you. Biologicals! And that was superstar David Grush, who has got the Chinese whispers from his grandmother's second cousins. You over there, what you saying? What?
Have you listened to what James Welsh has to say? James Welsh, the author who had the number 4 book.
Yes, no, we've not bothered to pay him any attention. We're not going to pay him any attention because we want to grandstand and continue to ask questions even though he has the answers. Is that okay with you? Is that okay with you? Well, let me just say I'm back on stage again. And, I'm listening. What?
Yes, James Welsh. Have you looked at the NASA evidence that he's put out because it would change the composition?
No, I've not looked at it because I'm too busy waffling piffle and my calendar's full of dates but I have to waffle piffle, and if I had the time I would look at it, but I don't have the time because I'm too busy waffling piffle. Thank you. Yes.
Have you seen the biological entities on NASA frame STS 103-734-58 and 59 and 57 as well?
No, I'm not taking the time to look at them because I'm too busy waffling piffle day in, day out, the same old record, the same old broken record. Blah, 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 biologicals, UAP, aunts, cousins, brothers, former roommates, uncles, friends, sisters, kids, uncles, owner, seen biologicals.
Well, if you only take the time to look at the NASA server and the links provided by author James Welsh, you might learn a thing or two, David.
Well, one day maybe I might, yay! One day I might look at James Welsh's stuff and learn a thing or two, but until then I'm just going to remain completely ignorant, okay? I'm going to wave my hand around and be completely ignorant and talk piffle. Universally accepted piffle. Is that okay with you? I'm going to continue to recycle the same old story. Biologicals. Yeah, I told him.
Hey, David! Do you know Mr. Welsh had multiple events during that time and had missing time and penned a former top 4 book on the subject? Ah, well, you told me now, so
Yes, I'll look at that later when I stop talking people. And I've not looked at it either, but maybe I will when I stop grandstanding and doing all this nonsense. Shut up, Leslie. Yeah, I'll look at it when I have time in my calendar, but I'm booked up for the next year waffling complete piffle, so after that maybe. You over there! Yes, Mr. Welsh also found that the hands-on entity on frame 58 also matched with Skinny Bob and the Caborges occupants. What do you have to say about that? Uh-huh. Yeah, well, we've not looked at that yet because we're ignorant. Sorry, we've not looked at that yet because we're complete ignoramuses. Yes, we're all completely ignorant of the research undertaken by one individual who had repeat close-range experiences during December 1999, the same time that these photographs were taken by NASA. So until then, jog on. We're not going to look at it. We're too busy grandstanding and talking piffle, okay? So I'd rather listen to Jeremy Corbell and all these clowns than listen to a researcher with 25 years experience looking into one UFO case, okay? Now, I'm going to pinch my nose and then I'm going to wave my hands around while I stand here and go, I wish we had the answers, but until we do, we're not going to look at the answers James Welsh has to provide. Yes, so, do you understand? We want to remain completely ignorant. Well, we stand here in front of microphones and ask questions. We do not know how to contact Mr. Welsh because we don't want to. We simply are ignorant of the fact of the work he has done. I'd just like to look at my phone and my Instagram and tell you that I've got 24 new followers since I came up on this podium, and 3 of them have suggested I look at the work by James Welsh, who had a top 4 UFO title and has blown NASA out of the water with their "we don't know" and shown that the entire UAP study and press conference was part of a coordinated psyop. But here on News Nation, we have to put out disinformation because that's what News Nation is for. I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but there are patterns. Yes, George Knapp's always on it.
Yeah, George Knapp and Jerry Corbell are always talking pish. Have you even looked at the book by Mr. Welsh, Corroborating Evidence of UFO Investigation of the Millennium? I have not. No, I haven't. No, because I'm too busy waffling. Piffle talking about biologics. I made the last 10 years have been great because I've been waffling piffle about biologicals. Goodbye. Hi, I'm back again. I just want to say in the time that I've been standing here, I've still not looked at any of the research by Mr. Welsh, and I'm still in the dark. I'm as much in the dark as I was when I came on stage earlier on, and you've seen little Leslie getting a kiss in the background there for all her efforts in putting out disinformation to the public. Now, if we all continue to ignore the evidence provided by James Welsh of the alien entities and spacecraft on a public NASA server, we can continue to stand here in front of microphones until the cows come home. And with that, I'd like to say, where are the cows? They're not here yet, so we can keep talking. I can confirm today that the cows are not here, and until they arrive, we will continue to waffle piffle. Now, as long as everyone just keeps ignoring the evidence provided by Mr. Welsh, which is hosted on the Gateway to Astronauts Photography of the Earth, then we can continue to remain in the dark. We don't want to know about the entities or the alien spacecraft which is docked alongside Hubble and Discovery during the redeployment of the Hubble Space Telescope. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to continue to ignore them. Thank you. No, we're not going to listen to them. We're not going to listen to them. Not today, not tomorrow. What was that? But don't you like fucking stupid? Yes, we do, but we're dressed smartly. In fact, I'm just going to point and I'm going to say we're going to continue to ignore James Welsh. We're going to continue to ignore the evidence on a NASA server that provides all the answers, okay? So, with that, I'm going to raise my hands in the air and say, we don't know. See you later. I'm going to point and say we're going to continue to ignore them, okay? And that's it, final. Well done, everyone. Well done. That was a great, what a pish. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.